should a Christian boyfriend lead his girlfriend in the dating process? In this video, I'm going to give you 3 things that should not happen in Christian dating and 1 thing that should be happening in Christian dating. So the first point is to first say that dating and marriage should always be seen as completely different. When you look at marriage in Scripture, you see that there are many responsibilities and rules that God has made very clear for a husband and a wife. Those rules do not apply to boyfriends and girlfriends. Boyfriends and girlfriends is really not a concept that's seen in Scripture. Not saying that it's sinful or that it's wrong, but it's not an idea that's present in the Bible as the time period where the Scriptures were written. The type of dating that we do now wasn't being practiced at that point. So it's really important to not pretend that you're married when you're not, because then you're going to miss the biblical reason for dating that I believe dating should be used. So again, dating's not mentioned in Scripture, but I think that you can use dating in a biblical way. Meaning that you take time to assess whether or not a man or woman has the godly characteristics that you're looking for in a Christian spouse. That's the purpose of dating, and I believe that process is honoring to God because it means you're valuing the importance of marriage and you're seeking to make sure that throughout a future marriage, you're going to be partnered with someone who loves God as much as you. So again, that's really what the Christian dating process should be used for. It's a time of gauging, of testing, to see whether or not God, in fact, is leading a man and a woman to become a husband and a wife. Now, if you start applying all the rules of marriage to dating, you're not going to be able to accomplish the function of Christian dating. For example, if you guys think that you have to be faithful to each other and stay with each other no matter what the other person does, like you're called to in marriage, you're not going to be able to break up if God's actually telling you don't marry that person. If you see some ungodly characteristics in a boyfriend or girlfriend that you have, maybe, most likely, God's saying, hey, this person's not ready for marriage. You should not be with this person. If that was to happen to your husband or wife and you saw some very concerning characteristics in your husband and wife, God would not tell you, hey, leave that person and just go look for someone else. That's not what happens in Christian marriage. So again, the rules are completely different. So coming back to the question, should a boyfriend lead his girlfriend? No, they should not, because the roles of a husband are not directly related to the roles of a boyfriend. A boyfriend should be assessing his girlfriend and figuring out whether or not he wants to marry her. A husband is not doing that with his wife anymore. The second reason I don't believe a boyfriend should lead his girlfriend is because he has not earned the right to lead her. When you read the main passage in Scripture where people really start understanding the roles of a Christian husband and wife in Ephesians 5, verses 22 through 23, you see that the roles of a husband and wife are directly related to each other. And so while a husband is called to lead his family, he's also called to sacrificially lay down his life for his family as his wife respects his leadership, and they've committed to each other for the rest of their earthly lives. So a boyfriend has not made that commitment. A boyfriend has not sacrificially laid down his life and committed himself to this one woman for the rest of their earthly time. Therefore, he has not earned the right to lead her and to have the privilege and blessing of having that much influence in her life. So that's another important reason that a boyfriend should not take that role in his girlfriend's life. The third reason is very similar to the second reason, except now we're looking at the woman's role in this. So a boyfriend should not lead his girlfriend in dating because she has not earned the right to depend on her boyfriend to that extent. Again, while a husband, is called to sacrificially lay down his life for his wife, as Christ has done to the church, as it clearly explains in Ephesians 5. A wife is also called to sacrificially respect and follow her husband as the church follows Christ, so we can symbolically represent this beautiful love relationship between Christ and the church. If a woman is depending on a man to that extent, but she's not committing to that man as is required in Scripture in marriage, again, it's not fair of her to depend on her boyfriend to the extent that a wife should expect to be able to depend on her husband. So now let's transition into looking at what should be occurring in Christian dating. So rather than a husband or a boyfriend and girlfriend taking responsibility for each other as a husband and wife should, they should be focusing more on respecting each other in the dating process as they gauge each other and work towards marriage if that's what God's leading them to do. So again, the big transition I would encourage people to make in Christian dating is to not take responsibility for the other person, but to emphasize respecting the other person. And here's what I mean by that. I don't mean respect in the noun form. I mean respect in the verb form. So respect in the noun form would mean like you have high admiration, you have a deep awe, and just a really positive view of that person. Like if you respect your pastor or you respect your father or your mother, it means, wow, I really have a high view of them. That's the noun form. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying respect in the verb form. This means that you are respecting the boundaries that this person has that you don't have a right to. When you respect someone's property, for example, and you see a property line, you say, I'm going to respect that property line by not crossing it. Or if you respect authority, that means that you don't cross into their authority, you don't compromise the rights they have as authority figures, and you respect what they're saying. If the police officer says, don't cross that line, you respect that police officer's authority by not crossing the line. And that's what I mean by focusing on respect in Christian dating. So in marriage, you're responsible for each other. When God judges a husband and wife and looks at their life, he's going to say, how did you make sure your wife or your husband was walking well with me and you were fulfilling your responsibilities? And our well-being is connected to each other and we're responsible for each other in a much greater way. Ultimately, every person's responsible for their own choices. We're not going to be judged for each other's sins and things like that. But again, as it says in Ephesians 5, a husband's responsible for the well-being of his wife, as Christ made sure the church has everything that the church needs. And the wife is responsible for supporting her husband, just as the church is going to be responsible for following Christ and respecting his authority. So that should not be happening in Christian dating. In Christian dating, again, you should be looking at those areas of their life and respecting those lines. So rather than a boyfriend leading his girlfriend in spiritual development, he should respect her spiritual development, see that that's an important area in her life, and realize he should not compromise that area of his life. He should make sure he's respecting the boundaries of this person that is not his wife. The same can be seen very clearly in our sexuality. In our sexuality as husbands and wife, we have a responsibility to take care of each other sexually. In dating, that should not be happening. Rather, you should be respecting each other's sexuality and placing boundaries around each other's sexuality. And when you see this other person's ability to respect you in dating, that should then make you want to move forward with that person, and you'll be able to see this person has the capability of being responsible in marriage. So the respect that someone can show you in dating can show you that they'll be a responsible person in marriage. If you want to lead the woman that you're dating, you should marry her so you have the right to lead her and sacrificially lead her, which is the blessing. So responsibility gets a huge negative connotation attached to it in our society, but being responsible for each other in marriage is a blessing. It's not a burden, and it should be something that's celebrated once you get to that point in your relationship together. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed this video. I'm Mark, and this is ApplyGodsWord.com. Thanks so much for watching, and God bless.